In today's video, we're talking about the Panasonic S5. But the question is, why haven't we talked about this camera all along? Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Evan here again. Super excited to have you back in another video. Like I said at the beginning, today's video we're talking about the Panasonic S5. This is the newest camera, from the Panasonic line. It came out this year in 2020. Now I have to say that I heard about the announcement of this camera, I heard about the release, but I never really paid attention to the camera for some reason. And it's funny because I have actually been shooting with Panasonic system for a while now, and I actually enjoy shooting with Panasonic system. Even if I'm still an avid Canon fan and an avid Canon user, but recently I've been using more of the Lumix G7 to shoot most of my photos and videos, but I never really paid attention to the Panasonic S5. So sometime last week I decided to check it out a bit, and I am super impressed. I have to say that this Panasonic S5 is by far, okay, maybe not by far, but for a lot of reasons I think it can pass as the best mid-range camera in 2020. I guess like a lot of people will come for me for this, because there's the Nikon Z6 II, there's the Canon R6, and yeah, there are those, and then the Sony A7C, which is not exactly a mid-range camera, but I think it could pass for a mid-range camera too. But I feel like I will still rate the Panasonic S5 above all these cameras, and I'll see why by the end of the video, so stick around. Before we get to the rest of the video, please, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notification so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. I post photography and filmmaking content and creative content on a weekly basis. Okay, so real quick, we're going to go through the spec sheet of this camera, because first of all, looking at the camera, the spec sheet alone is mind blowing. So on the spec sheet we have the wonderful 24.2 MP full frame sensor. It's a full frame camera. We have 5 axis IBIS in-body image stabilization. We have 10-bit 4K at 60 frames per second for video, and with the new at the beginning, when this camera was first released, it didn't have this feature I'm about to mention, but when you do the firmware update to the firmware 2.0, you get 5.9K ProRes RAW with external recording. When you use an external recorder, you're able to do 5.9K RAW with a compact body like that. The design of the camera has dust and splash protection. It's not exactly waterproof or water resistant, but it has splash protection with the design, so like it will be great for taking to the beach and all that, but not like taking a dip into the water. It has wonderful ergonomics and 2 SD card slots. One is a UHS type 1 SD card slot, the other is a UHS type 2 SD card slot. Now, what is this camera great for? Let's just get straight to the point. This camera is great for everything. It is one of the best hybrid cameras I have seen so far, based on the tests I have seen, based on the reviews I have seen, and based on the spec sheet alone. When you have 24 megapixels like that, you can be sure that your images will be great to print, to blow out, for anything. This is the kind of camera that you can take pictures for almost anything. The second thing I think makes this camera wonderful is the fact that it does 4K and also does 5.9K ProRes RAW. That's absolutely amazing. The firmware update gives it 5.9K RAW with an external recorder. I mean, that is some cinema level stuff we're talking about right there. Thirdly, this camera does not have any recording limit, so if you compare it to most of the other cameras that have come out this year, you see that there are a lot of recording limits with those cameras, but this one doesn't have recording limit, so you can record as long as you want, and so far there have been no issues with overheating whatsoever. Fourthly, you also get an anamorphic mode if you want to shoot at different ratios without having to notice a crop. You get an anamorphic mode inbuilt in the camera when you record with, although you have to do that with an external recorder. There's a whole lot that comes with that. Furthermore, it is light and it has wonderful design. The body, the grip is a lot deeper, so it makes it easier to hold, and be comfortable while you're shooting. Now, moving over to the cons, what are the issues with this camera? We have to talk about the cons, real quick, talk about the cons, right? Yeah, so First and foremost, autofocus. Autofocus has never really been the strong point of Panasonic, the Lumix brand. Autofocus has never really been their strong point. They're still using their traditional DFD, that's a depth from defocus. Now, while this thing works, it works pretty fine and even works pretty good on the new Panasonic Lumix S5. It's improved, but it is slower than what you get from Canon and Sony and Nikon, even Nikon. So yeah, I think that's a major thing I think is a problem with this camera. Autofocus will be the biggest challenge, especially for those who do vlogs and who need, you need your autofocus changing as quickly as possible when you're in AFC or AFS. You probably have a problem with that because the autofocus takes a little longer. It's just a little longer. It depends on how patient you are. If you do YouTube videos like this or you do film, you adjust your focus manually, or you don't need your focus to be changing so quickly. If you use manual focus most of the time, I think you might not have a problem with this camera. But for those who do like active movements and all that, it takes a little longer to focus. However, the face detection has improved in this camera also. It's a little faster. It works pretty fine. Eye detection, face detection, stuff like that. The second con I think comes with this camera is battery. Panasonic has never been the best at battery either, and this camera also lives up to that reputation. This camera doesn't have the best battery. You should consider getting an extra battery when you get this camera. Now, the final thing I think will be an issue with this camera is the fact that the L mount has not produced the best set of lenses. The lens map for Panasonic still looks it looks good into the future, just like with Nikon Z mount, but at the moment they don't have the best lenses for the L mount, which is the mount that is on the Panasonic Lumix Lumix S5. So that might be a bit of a problem, but we have to say that the lenses that came out in the time with this camera are quite alright. We have some f.2 lenses, some 35mm lenses. So I think based on that, we might not disqualify it completely. However, we still have to mention that the L mount is still quite limited, so you might have to maybe get adapters for your other lenses that you use over time. But yeah, that's basically it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please smash a like on the video. If you've gotten up to this point and you want to see more of my videos in the future, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Based on statistics, a lot of people who watch these videos, you watch my videos and you don't subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.